My best friend stole my startup idea, so I made her investors choose sides. I never thought I'd see the day when my best friend Sarah would turn into my biggest nightmare. We've been inseparable since college, studying together, partying together, even dreaming together. We both had that entrepreneurial itch, bouncing startup ideas off each other constantly. But I always thought we were on the same team. Apparently I was wrong. A year ago, I had this idea that consumed me, a platform that connects freelancers with local small businesses in a way that completely cuts out middlemen, with AI-driven matching to ensure the perfect fit for every job. I had spent months building a prototype in secret, late nights, skipped weekends, endless caffeine, and had already started sketching out my pitch deck. I casually mentioned parts of it to Sarah because she'd always been my sounding board. Big mistake. Fast forward 3 months, and I get a random LinkedIn notification. Sarah's startup is live. My heart sank. Every detail, from the business model to the exact matching algorithm, was eerily similar. I reached out to her, expecting at least a denial or some excuse. Instead, she laughed it off, claiming she'd just been inspired by our talks. I was furious, but I'm not impulsive. I wanted proof, and more importantly, leverage. I quietly dug into her investor meetings and found something interesting. She was desperate for funding, sending her pitch deck to investors who I had actually contacted months earlier for my own project. And her deck, she hadn't polished anything. She literally used my prototypes and mock-ups with only minor tweaks. That's when the idea hit me. If she wanted to play dirty, I could too, but smart. I started reaching out to her potential investors, not to badmouth her, but to give them a choice. I said something like, I think you need to know both sides before funding. I presented my project as it was, showing that it was already functional, with traction, user interest, and a fully developed plan. I made it impossible to ignore. The interesting part, investors are rational, not sentimental. They didn't care who our childhood best friend drama involved. They cared about results. I invited them to a demo, highlighting all the work I had done months before she even started coding. Meanwhile, I left Sarah in the dark, thinking she had a clean runway. Within a week, the tables turned. Several investors pulled out of her round, asking for clarity and expressing concern about originality and ownership. The ones who stayed wanted assurances and legal contracts, something she hadn't bothered with yet. The stress visibly crushed her. Meetings that once went smoothly for her now ended with tense emails and second thoughts. Finally, I confronted her, not in anger, but with cold, quiet satisfaction. You had a choice. You could have collaborated, or you could have stolen. Investors, they chose the actual work. She didn't speak, her face said it all. Today, my startup is thriving. I even hired a few of her former beta testers who realized they were more impressed with the original vision than the copy. Sarah and I don't talk anymore, but honestly, I feel zero guilt. Sometimes the people you trust the most are the ones who test you hardest. And sometimes the best revenge isn't drama, it's winning while they're scrambling.